Hi, welcome to the video. So with this video, I just want to give evidence that the gathering would have taken place in Petra. A lot of people believe it occurred in Priya or Pella, and when I look at the logistics, it just doesn't seem to fit. Um, Something to keep in mind, in John chapter 21, Jesus asked Peter 3 times, "Do you love me? Feed my sheep." And Peter was a fisherman. He had just finished bringing 153 fish, all right? So he had been fishing to feed them. When I look at the logistics, keeping in mind Peter and the logistics being told to feed his sheep, given that big responsibility, it doesn't fit Pella and Priya. But it does fit Petra very well. And so, yeah, so let's just dive into it. So here's evidence number one. Now, this is from this book here. You can see the ISBN number there. If you bring your, if you go to the description below, there should be a Google Drive link to the PDF this is here. So, and then you're welcome to download as well. If you bring your cursor up right hand corner, then you can download it. So I get from this source here, this book, pretty big book. And keep in mind, the Jews were only there for 7 years. Let's just go to the timeline real quick. All right, is from September 11th of AD 66 to September 22nd of AD 73. All right, that's 7 year period. All right, so you can kind of see here wings here. It's all part of it's all part of the theme. You know, we're given wings as an eagle. Basically, it's a timeline, and once they reach that last day, the wings are fully made, and then that's when they were raptured up. Um, so yeah, so this section here, where the Jews who came to Christ that fled from areas of Asia Minor and the areas surrounding, Church of Thessalonica, Corinth, so forth, and so they would have gathered here. And looking at logistics, let's see here. Let's just pull up the Google Maps here, Google Earth. So as you can see, let's just turn on some of the churches here. Got John and Peter. Okay, so these are the 12 churches in Asia Minor. 5 being written to by Peter from First Peter, and then 7 written to by John in Book of Revelation. So it used to be called Apocalypse back then. So if you notice, any of these churches, they all have pathways to water channels. They have access to water, to the large body of water, so they can come out for their gathering, and they would have gone down to Babylon. This is 1 Peter 5:13, and notice how the logistics are already taken care of. All right, so they would have met in Babylon. And so how do we know it's not Babylon, Iraq, or some people say, well, it's code for Rome, which is no, that's not true. We compare. They would have exchanged notes. To go back here, Asia Minor. So the Book of Revelation and First Peter, when they compare notes, get Babylon, 1 Peter 5:13, and you get Egypt, Second Exodus, Book of Revelation. They compare notes, Babylon, Egypt. That's where it's supposed to go. That's where Peter's at. So they would have gone down there, and so as you can see, the logistics are already taken care of. It's all funneled in one spot. There's Peter. I believe this would have been September 6th, and how do I know that? This time times a half a time. The half a time is from September 15th to September 11th, and the other half, September 10th to September 6th, would have been this time period here. So he would have escorted them those 5 days, September 6th to September 10th, to here, to Petra. He would have taught them how to fish. Now they got all these fishing boats, and then he would have continued on feeding Jerusalem, and still having responsibility until the day he dies, and there have been plenty of boats to help take over that responsibility. So he mentions 2 Peter that he's not going to live much longer. I believe that written around 66 AD, and that was the same year they would have left for the gathering. Matter of fact, I have that on the timeline. Yeah, right here. So the lawless one revealed on August 14th, 1866. Okay, that's when the message went out, revealed, time for gathering, and within 28 days, or 23 days, they arrived at Peter. 5 days later, the 28th day, September 11th, 1866, they arrived in Petra. Okay. So let's see here. Yeah. So we go to Revelation 12. Serpent poured water like a river out of his mouth after the woman, so he might cause her to be swept away with the flood. But the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and drank up the river, which the dragon poured out of his mouth. So keep in mind, the serpent, the evil one, by spirit, and he can transfer from bodily form or into something else. So this is obviously not a human being at this point. All right. This is after Nero had died. All right. So the serpent took on a different form. No idea. You go back to the book of Job, and he can do natural disasters. Um, so so this would have been towards the end right here. This would have been after Nero had died. He was the serpent beforehand. Okay, so um, so when they give him the wings of an eagle, that was to escape from this serpent here. All right, and then Nero died, and the serpent took on a different form, and that's where at some point in there the flood. All right, and then so that's 15 through 16, and if we go back to the image here, you can see evidence of the earth open its mouth right there. All right, so that way they were not hurt. All right, that scenario did not fit with Pella or Priya. Um, so, all right, and then we go on to the next verse. Let's see here. The next verse at the temple. So 15 and 16 we just read. All right, which should have been during this time period right here. And then at the temple, 12:17, and the dragon wrought the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Now, why is it calling one half remnant and the other half woman? Because the woman is described, the Jews came to Christ, they were preparing the way in Petra for the remnant. So when they leave, then they're considered a woman. At that point, they have a place prepared for them. Okay, John 14:2. All right. So that biggest clue here, which keep the commandments of God, have the testimony of Jesus Christ. So what are we talking about? The testimony of Jesus Christ. These are the ones that endured the entire 1335 days at the temple. All right. So what are we talking about here? Let's take a look here. This right here. So blessed is he that waiteth and come to the 1335 days. All right. They're the ones to have the testimony of Christ. How so? John 14:26. The Holy Spirit reminded them things Jesus said during a 3.5-year ministry. They obeyed all the way to the end. Those who did not obey all the way to the end, they fled early. They went to places like Pella and Perea. All right. And so they were not the ones blessed. The ones that were blessed made it all the way to the end. And that was on that last day was April 10th, Thursday afternoon of April 10th, AD 70. And so their prayer was answered. Their flight would not take place in winter or on the Sabbath. All right. So, all right. And two wings of a great eagle over serpent. All right. So there's that. So I believe they made that during their 7 years they were there. Let's see here. Just click on this here. And the dragon saw he thrown down to the earth. He persecuted the woman who gave birth to the child. But the two wings of the great eagle were given to the woman, that she could fly in the wilderness to her place, where she would nurse for time to half time from the presence of the serpent. So this is referring to the Jews who came to Christ, who were in age of minor. All right. So yeah. So at this point in time, this was Nero. Alrighty, during his reign. And that's right. Let's look at the timeline here. So this is Nero's reign. He's the serpent in human form. So at the halfway point, they're given wings of an eagle. All right. And then when Nero died, then the serpent took on a different form, just like in the book of Job, where natural disasters, then it took on the role. We tried to create the flood. All right. Let's see here. So that's what that represents. All right. And then John 14:2, some translations have mansion, but when you look at the Greek, it's dwelling places. Okay, and that's what's going on here. That's Petra. So that's just there there are so many images. I mean, you can look online. There's so many images, but it's this came out of this book. Um, yeah, and again, if you get this book, keep in mind not everything in here was done by the Jewish people during those 7 years. There's evidence that there are people there before. There's evidence of people there after. I believe this is evidence of them. Okay, what we see here. All right, it's fulfillment of this prophecy, and this has to do with 12:9 through 14. All right. So and then the Feast of Trumpets last, and that's the last thing they had to do to fulfill the law. To shout their way to the Lord into eternity. So when it says the first be last and last be first, so the first were the ones who were scattered throughout Asia Minor. They arrived to Petra first, but they are taken to eternity last. The Jews who were at the temple, who endured all the way to the end, the hardcore, the followers of Christ, they arrived last in Petra, but they were the first to go. Having said that, just like in looking at the map before all this, you had the scattered and then the hardcore at the temple. Same thing here. The scattered would still been scattered, and the hardcore would have been in the middle. They would have been taken up first. All right, just using logic here. All right, so that's all I had there. So that's just a little bit of evidence supports Petra. Again, I don't know if I got Priya marked on the map or Pella. Yeah, there we go. Okay. It just makes no sense. You got the Roman army coming through, and so Peter trying to feed them, he'd be like crossing their path. it, yeah, it. Yeah, I mean it's possible, but it makes no sense. Why have they flee the area, knowing that Peter's feeding them, and move that area knowing that they'd be jeopardizing his life trying to feed them? They'd be like, I'm going to go over here so that he can no longer feed me. So when the famine, while we're going through the famine, we'll just starve to death. Do you see the logic there? And so, yeah, I'm sure some people fled there. And this is based on Eusebius' writings. And to be honest with you, I'm a little leery of his writings. There's a lot of politics that went on. His boss was Emperor Constantine. The guy was corrupt. Bad office politics. So that's a whole nother topic. So anyway, it just makes sense that they would have fled here, and then knowing that Peter can still feed them, close access to the water anyway. So because they knew Peter was feeding them, and then Peter had easy access, and it just been even safer for him to feed them actually. Yeah, once they fled. Alrighty, so anyway, that's that. Hope you continue to enjoy your studies, and thank you for your time. Have a great day.